Hey y'all, it's Lauren and Jamie.
Today we are talking about breakups and when you need to move on.
This is the Chicks and Dip podcast. Hey y'all.
Hello, hello.
It's Lauren.
It's Jamie. Welcome to the Chicks and Dip podcast, everybody.
It's episode 9.
I know.
We're so excited.
Flying through.
And just guess the topic, y'all. We're drinking red wine. So y'all know it's about to get sad.
It is, and honestly, I've been waiting to do this episode for so long. I'm not kidding. I spent all day making a note, like filling a notebook about this. So I'm excited. We will be talking about.
We're talking about breakups, y'all. We've been waiting. It's not gonna be sad. We won't make you cry too much. It's gonna be really good.
No, it's more so going to be like what we've experienced and how we've learned from it, and maybe it will help you if you've been in a similar situation or in that situation right now. So no crying. I promise that won't happen today.
Before that, though, we do want to tell you some of the things we've been talking about. You guessed it, over chips and dip.
Wow.
There's this new Netflix movie, y'all. I saw the trailer today, and I said, oh, my Lord, Jamie, this movie has two things you love, music and military men. This movie is called Purple Heart, and I didn't even finish the trailer, but essentially it's like a fake military marriage for like the benefits, get to live off the base.
Yeah, and of course you know that they're going to like fall in love at the end of it, but of course I had already seen the trailer, so Lauren was like, oh my God, there's a new movie. As she said, it has your two favorite things. My ex was in the military, so hence why she's saying that.
Yep.
But I was like, oh no, I've already seen the trailer. I already cried. Like, I'm already excited for this to come out. I am such a sucker for a rom-com. Like, literally Saturday night, I was so excited to go home and sit on the couch, watch a movie by myself, and just cry to a rom-com. I love it. I don't know why, but that is just what I like to do.
I really like dramas and like coming of age movies more, but like I told you this earlier, if I'm like slightly hungover on a Sunday, I do want a cheesy movie. I'm like, put that shit on.
Hey, and that will be it.
Wow.
Yeah, that will be it for you. But
it comes out Friday.
My two favorite things, Lauren knows. So there it is. So. There it is. Cat's out of the bag for that one, I guess.
Yeah. The next thing that we want to talk about before our big topic, we got a listener question, and this one was really fun because it challenged us a little bit.
I know, we really didn't know how to answer this at first.
So essentially the question was, this guy, and he has moved to a new city with his wife, and they have dogs, and they're kind of struggling to make friends. He's a big extrovert, and she is very introverted. And so he kind of gave me the gist, but basically, like, him and the other husbands in the apartment complex have, like, met up at the dog park, letting the dogs out and stuff. And so there's, like, this initial, the people in the apartment, and now they're at that step of, like, okay, I want to, like, hang out with these people. How do I do that? Because his wife is, like, very shy, very introverted, and she's, like, she's not too excited to, like, go over to some random people's house, which I would say I get. I'm an extrovert, so, like, I would just do it. But that's why it was hard for us. We were like, I don't know really what to say. And so my initial advice was, like, just tell her when to be there.
Yeah,
like,
just go.
Just tell her be ready at 5.
It's that easy.
Yeah. But we actually sought some advice from an introvert that we know well, and she is actually married to an extroverted man. So I was like, this is perfect.
Yep.
So she slept on it for a couple days and then sent me this. It's long, but I think it's really good. So y'all hang in there.
Clear the throat real quick.
Here we go. I find that as an introvert, I'm always skeptical of meeting new people and nervous in situations where I'm not confident in the location or group dynamics. I get that. I'd suggest for the husband to plan an activity or location that the wife has already been to, not someone's house or not their own house, because that can be stressful. That way it's in a public setting, it's a little less awkward. Then progress to house parties. I can actually see where if you're not knowing people, like even as an extrovert, if I don't know these people, I don't know if I'm trying to go to a house party.
No, I mean, we talked about that a few weeks ago, that even a place that you had brought me to where I knew a few people, I still felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because everybody's staring at you. If you're the new person, they're like, oh, who is this?
Who is that?
You need to get to know them.
Okay, so that's step 1. Familiar location, probably not a house party. She says, additionally, setting a time limit really helps me. Like if we're going to meet up with people at 7, we plan to leave by 9. Normally when we set these time limits, I end up enjoying myself and staying later. But it gives me comfort knowing that we agreed to leave by a certain time.
I like that. That's good because that's compromising on both levels.
Yep.
That's good.
And then on the off chance that it's miserable, you're like, God, only 30 more minutes.
ready to go. Yep.
And then she says, also when socializing, making sure to include your partner in conversations. Don't just let them slink into the background. I have a bad habit of doing that when I'm in a new group of people and I'll end up scrolling my phone the whole time. It's difficult for extroverted people to understand how hard it can be to simply socialize. So I think I think being mindful of their feelings, but not being too pushy is really important.
Wow.
I hope that helped. For me, that was like not any kind of close to the advice that I would have given, but that makes total sense. I think that's a really helpful answer.
No, it does. And honestly, that time part of it, I'm still stuck on that because that is really good. And that's really considerate too of her husband, who's the extrovert. It's like, hey, you know what? We're going to kind of like scratch an itch for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make you a little bit uncomfortable for a bit, but it's, it's going to end at some point. So it's okay. We can get through it.
And I like what she said. If you end up having a blast, like who's to say you can't stay later? Like just keep hanging out if you're having fun.
Wow.
Great advice.
That is great advice. I also want to bring up something else that we didn't even discuss before, but I just thought about this. So Lauren reading that like whole paragraph, I hate reading things in front of people.
Did you really?
Oh my God. I definitely have told you this story before. So, like, honestly, if we ever have to read something really long, I will make Lauren do it because I get so terrified, which makes no sense because I love public speaking and all that stuff. So this literally stems from, and I know other people have done this too, in 6th grade science class.
Oh, hail.
I was chosen to read in front of the class. And casually, instead of organism, I said,
orgasm!
Yep.
No!
And had no idea what that meant, no idea that that was even a word. And my substitute teacher that day started hysterically laughing. And we're all 6th graders. We're like, what the hell is she laughing
Did anyone in the class know? Like,
no, nobody had any idea. So I go home to my sister, who's 4 years older than me. So she's in like 10th grade at this point. I'm like, Lorene, what's an orgasm? And she was like, why are you asking me that? I'm like, oh, I said it in science class today. So I just thought about that because you were reading something really long. And I was like, hell no, that ain't going to be me.
That's just so funny. I guess I can believe it, but I was going to say, like, if anyone in that class, like, knew what that was, they have, like, rowdy older siblings, like.
Oh, for sure. I can't believe I didn't know about it, but my sister was very alarmed. So yeah,
funny.
Sorry, I just had to share that fact. That's a deep fear of mine that was just, like, unlocked listening to you read a long passage.
Popcorn reading was the worst. And it was really the worst whenever the teacher didn't even choose.
Popcorn reading?
Yeah, that's what they call that.
Oh, like picking random people out?
Yeah, like you pop it like popcorn. Like I read a sentence, pop, you're it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We would just have the teacher randomly call on us to see if you're like following along with what's being said.
That's mean too.
That's mean.
Yeah, that is mean because they know. I mean, you're a kid. Yeah. You're not good at hiding stuff yet. So they know when you're not paying attention. They're like, let's get Jamie.
No, I'm like passing notes the whole time, thinking of being sly as hell. Nope.
I got in big trouble for passing a note one time, which actually justice for me because I didn't pass the note. This girl that I was acquainted with in like the 4th grade or something passed me a note and called our teacher fat. And I had the note. I received the note when it got taken. So I got in trouble. And I was like, I didn't call you fat. She did. And I went down for that. Justice for me.
Oh my God.
I know. I still remember.
Wait, that's kind of mean. What a mean girl. Did she end up being a mean girl?
She was a mean girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was not a nice gal at all.
Wait, that's horrible.
Yep. You remember how we said like in a former episode that like our parents could tell the bad eggs?
They knew.
They knew.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so rude. I don't even think. How old were you? Do you know?
Probably like the 4th grade or something. It's like one of those random early memories that I remember I got in like big trouble for, and I was like, maybe that was the first like injustice I ever experienced.
Yeah,
as a child.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay, this intro has gone like 500 different ways.
This is a joke.
Anyways. So, on our topic of today's breakups and also when to walk away, I think is also a really big part of it. Obviously, being 24, 25-year-old women, we have had relationships and, Lauren is still in one right now. I recently had a heartbreak, so I will elaborate on that and everything. Yeah. But I think it's important to talk about what you've been through and how you've kind of learned from it, I guess.
Yeah. And everyone, I mean, maybe not everyone has had a terrible breakup, but I feel like once you have any breakup, you have like a little taste of it. And it's like sad no matter how it goes, I think.
Oh, it's always sad. Like even if it's a mutual thing,
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I have a few questions. I literally went to town, guys. I was not kidding. Like I was super.
She made physical notes and like digital notes. This girl's not kidding.
That, but like for real. I love talking about feelings. So I was like, I can't wait to talk about this. Okay, so my first question And I have an answer for it too, but do you think that you can be friends with your ex?
Yes. I think it depends on the situation, and I think it depends on time.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I mean, okay, let me think on this for a sec. I am friends with my one serious ex, and that we broke up. I was probably like a junior in college, or maybe just before that.
Okay.
It's been like years, but like we text each other on our birthdays, like happy birthday. Like if I have a big life change that I post about, he'll send me a message and just be like, hey, like great to see you're doing good. We're that kind of friends, but like he lives in another city. If I go visit that city, I would never be like, hey, do you want to get a drink? Like we're not like that,
right?
You know, I think that's inappropriate because I am in a relationship. And if he was in a relationship, I would never try to get in there in like a weird friend way. But I mean, like you can be friendly. I don't know. I feel like, wow, we're about to just like dive right in here. I just kind of think with him specifically, but also I feel like any other exes that have meant something to you, like you're always going to have love for them, you know? And so I think it can be hard to just totally cut them out of your life and be like, I can't be your friend ever. Like, I think if I had been cheated on, then I would be like, no, I can't be your friend ever, probably. That's how I would feel. But like we pretty mutually broke up. Well, no, that's not true at all. I broke up with him.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
That's not true. No, I broke up with him, but I just think that after a certain amount of time, like I still feel love in my heart for him. So the most appropriate and what feels right for me is to be like friendly to him, not his best friend, but not like a total stranger. Like that feels good to me.
I agree. I think right after you break up, you need time.
Oof.
Definitely. I mean, my high school boyfriend and I, we just went through so much together that he, like you said, is always going to have a place in my heart. I will always love him. But like, there's a difference between like being in love with someone and loving someone. You know, like we went through a lot. Like I had lost a friend, like things happened with his parents and everything. So I have the utmost respect for him because we were so young, you know, and he's like a grown man now and is like doing his thing, and I just am so proud of him and so supportive of him. But I think there does come that boundary at the end of the day where, like, you know, when I was in my relationship, like he never said anything. Like if he starts dating someone, I will never cross like that boundary. But I think it also depends on how it ends, though, for sure. I mean, if somebody's cheating, I don't know, I think that would be very hard to come back from.
I think I hate you for life. Like I don't think I could ever get over that. But yeah, I agree. And I feel like it also kind of depends on what stage you're in. You know, like I am dating someone. Like I almost wonder, okay, what if I was like married with like a baby? Would I feel like it was different then? You know, like would it be appropriate for him to text me like, congrats on the new job? For me, that feels a little bit more weird than if he texted that to me right now. And I don't know why.
Because I feel like marriage is just such a like solidified, serious thing that you're doing. And that is clear to someone else that you have found your person and you have moved on. Yeah. And you got to respect that, especially if you're having a baby and all these things. Like, I don't know.
I agree. And of course, like, it's a totally different topic if like you have a child with the ex. Like, that's obviously so different. You know, like if there's like ties that you cannot separate, you know, like then obviously you should be friends, I think. But that's a whole nother episode. We're talking about like no ties.
Right.
You were just dated.
Yeah. Haven't dated in forever. I mean, randomly popping up and be like, hey, like, what are we doing?
Right.
Why are you reaching out at this point? This is so strange.
Right. But I don't know and it's like so hard to not want to, for me at least, it's hard to not want to comment on like their life things, you know, like my ex, I'm not going to give away like too much of his personal stuff, but like he's very into like fitness. And so he just did like an Ironman. And like I really wanted to like send him a message and be like, that was freaking badass. Like, good job. But like I didn't send like a, you know, like it just, I feel like it's a respect thing. Like I respect me, I respect Cameron, I respect our relationship. Right. And like while there's no intention of like romance there, it just feels like a little bit of a line. Like, so the little thing in the back of your mind where you're like, oh, like maybe I want to send him a text. Like I don't think it's always appropriate, if that makes sense.
Well, I feel like you need to put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're dating. I mean, would you like Cameron doing something like that? No.
Exactly. And the thing is, he's friendly with his exes, but they're friendly to me. I think that definitely matters. Yeah. You know, like his exes, I see them out all the time and like, they're cool. They're all very cool.
Yeah,
and
that's great. For sure.
It's great. I thought that you were laughing at me. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Are you laughing at
Sonny's
us?
sneezing back there. I'm dead. Oh no, you're coughing. Are you okay?
Sorry.
Like, yes. Oh my God, that is so funny.
Our videographer back there, I thought he was like, when I said I'm cool with the exes, I was like, no, that's for real. I really
I
am.
swear we are.
But yeah, that makes a difference too. How friendly you are with your ex depends on who they're currently dating and who you're dating, you know?
Yeah, because I mean that just kind of would suck also.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
that's just a lot. Yeah, that was one question.
Friendly, but not too friendly. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like my final answer is going to be like, happy birthday.
Mhm.
Maybe one other text a year for me is where I'm at with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And any other thought that I might have where I just want to be friendly, no,
Mhm.
I'm cutting that off.
So kind of like jumping into it, what kind of happened between you two, and what did you kind of learn from that? It's a fully loaded question.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong, really. He did nothing wrong at all. And that's why I think it was like really sad. We dated for like about a year, and he was my first real boyfriend. Like all through high school, I didn't have a boyfriend at all. And once I got into college, I didn't either. And so I met him like 2 years in to college. And so I think like I was excited to have someone that I felt like I liked enough to be my boyfriend. And so I kind of knew going in that there were a couple of like just fundamental things about us that were different. And I don't know, I think I just like really loved hanging out with him. I loved him in my life, but I wasn't at a place of thinking like, okay, whenever one day, like maybe I want to get married, how are these fundamental differences going to affect us then? And so I just kind of didn't think about that and push that under the rug for the full year. And I don't know what it is about the year mark, but it really makes you like think.
It does.
It's like a milestone, and you like start to think about just a little bit deeper. And so I feel like I kind of started to ponder on it, and then he actually graduated and moved away. And so then the separation of us, I think, allowed me to get in my head in a good way. I mean, it sucked, but in a good way, to kind of really have time to myself to think about like, how are we going to get over this if like I know it's not like, oh, I hate the way he dresses or I hate his haircut. It's not something that can be changed. Yeah, it was like fundamental things that both of us were never going to change on. And I just kind of had enough space to realize that it just wasn't ever going to work out, and it sucked. It was really sad.
Yeah.
Because again, he didn't do anything wrong. You know, there was like really not any animosity there. And whenever I broke up with him, I cried harder than I ever have, because it's like you didn't do anything, but it's just not going to work. So yeah, it was weird.
But it's okay. Like you just kind of notice your differences, and then you just outgrow those people at the end of the day. And I know we were both kind of talking about, which we both have experience with, right after breaking up, like talking again a few days after, or even that night. Do you want to talk about your experience first, and then I can kind of tell mine? Yeah.
God. Okay. I actually remember, shout out to my best friend Brooks. He had dated a couple people and had been through this. And I remember like the morning after we had officially broken up, I woke up and like I had all these feelings and I was crying, and the only person I wanted to call was my ex.
Right.
Because he was like my person. And I remember I called Brooks and I was like, what the fuck do I do? Who do I call? Like, I don't know how to feel. I feel like I've made a mistake. Like all these things are running through my head. And he like kind of talked me off the ledge. He's like, don't text him. Because then you're just going to go in like this loop of like, we're broken up, we're back together, you know. And it was the best thing I did was just like clean breaking that off and just like sitting in my feelings, buckling down and getting through it. But it was hard because you just feel like you lose your go-to person overnight, and it's really weird.
Well, I feel like breakups are so hard because when you really start dating someone and you fall in love with them, what you create in your head is this vision for your life together. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is what we're going to do together. We're going to have these kids together. We're going to do all these things. And when you break up, all of that just goes away. And it's kind of like mourning a death of somebody. It's mourning the death of a relationship that you had. Which it's like, it's so true though. I mean, I don't feel like it's as much like, oh God, we're breaking up. It's like everything that you had planned on has now gone to shit, essentially. You know what I mean?
It's like a clean slate.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the hardest part. And it was funny, like when we were kind of talking about that, like when my most recent ex and I broke up, we were long distance at the moment, and we broke up like super late at night on a Saturday, and I was like hyperventilating, crying all night. I was like, no way. And woke up Sunday and we went and got drinks and everything. But then come Monday, like I texted him and I was like, I really want to talk about what happened the other night. And my advice to everyone else is do not do that.
Don't do
because that made it 10 times worse for me because I was just like, we made a mistake. We shouldn't have done this, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like I got that like thought in my head that we were going to talk and it was like, yep, we messed up. We're just going to make things right. And needless to say, we got on the phone and he was like, no, like we had to do that. Like I still feel the way that I felt 2 nights ago, you know, and then you're like, shit, this is done. This is really done. And that's like a second heartbreak all over again. That's 10 times worse.
Yep.
So my advice to people is do not do that. Like seriously give space, whether it's weeks, months, and sometimes for people, it's even years. And I do believe that sometimes people can come back together. Like maybe you do need space from someone to grow on your own and experience the things that you need to, because everybody breaks up for different reasons.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I want to piggyback off of what you just said about the space thing. This was like the most unfortunate series of events. So I told you that he lived in a different city, right? So I had gone over there and I didn't go with the intention to break up with him, but like I knew we were going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So I went, we hung out for like a day and then we had the conversation and ultimately I broke up with him. And so I was leaving to drive back to Mississippi and I shit you not, a tornado warning on the highway and I had to turn around. It was like 11 p.m. and I had nowhere to go. I was in a city that I didn't know and there was a tornado warning and I was like, I can't drive into a tornado. And so like that plus my hysterical emotions, I called him and I was like, I don't know what to do, but I feel like I made a mistake and now there's a tornado. I have nowhere to go. And so I had to go spend the night at his house. And so, of course, the next day we talked it all over and we decided to try to make it work. And that lasted about a week.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you are breaking up in that moment, there is a reason that it's come to that point. And you need to not ignore that. Like, whether it is, and for some people, maybe they won't talk for a week and then it's like, okay, we really like messed up.
Yeah.
But you need that space. You don't need 24 hours, 48 hours. Like nothing's going to change. And especially when you have, it's not always a blow up fight. Maybe it is a civil conversation, whatever it is, but there's a reason. There's some kind of animosity there. There's some kind of thought in one of your heads or both of your heads that this needs to stop right now for one reason or another. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. I keep joking. Like after we just broke up, I'm like, I'm never dating anyone ever again. I am so over this because I know myself, I care about people so much that when I get in a relationship, like after my high school ex and I broke up, I literally did not date anyone for like 5 years.
Oh yeah.
And then it was my 3rd day in Savannah that I met my ex. I'm not going to say his name, but like it felt like so right. And I'm not going to lie, like we do still talk to each other. You know, we have a very different situation where it wasn't like we fell out of love or anything happened. Like we just both have a lot going on in life right now and it's just not going to work. And I will fully admit, Saturday night, I was in my room crying by myself, just like so frustrated. But at the end of the day, what can you control and what can you not control? And this is something that is completely out of my control.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing things for himself to better himself and better his career. And that's what I need to do at the end of the day. But it still sucks.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like it still is that person, like you're saying, that you want to talk to every day when something bad is happening, when something good is happening. But you got to trust. My friend Whitney always says to me, what's meant for you won't miss you. And you need to trust in that. Like, I love that phrase so much.
What's meant for you won't miss you?
Yeah. Like if someone's meant to be with you, they're not just going to pass by you. Like they're going to
be
I
thought you meant like they won't long for you. I was like, damn, that is
oh.
mean.
No.
Okay, different kind. Like skip you, miss you. Like miss me with. Okay, following. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Whitney.
Following. My bad. Sorry, Whit. But yeah, I just think it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And choosing to be the person, like I feel like I need to like knock on some wood seriously, but I haven't been the one to be broken up with and choosing to do the breaking up. I'm sorry. People are always like, it sucks to get dumped. It sucks way worse to do the dumping.
Well, yeah, because you're hurting the person that you love.
Yes, and you have to live with those thoughts. And like for me, I didn't just have those thoughts and then do it the next day. Like I fought those thoughts for like a while, you know? I mean, I don't remember exactly how long it was that he lived away from me, but pretty much that whole time it was like I had the gut feeling of, okay, Lauren, you have to face this. Like, this is not going to work long term. And I was like, no, he's so great. Like, I don't want to do that. All my friends like him. My family likes him. And, you know, it's like you can't sleep. It's all you think about. And then every time they call, you're stressed about it. Every part of it sucks.
But no matter how great they are, they might not be great for you.
Exactly.
And you gotta go let them be great for someone else, which sucks.
Okay, I actually loved it. I loved whenever I saw my ex have a new
Oh
girlfriend.
my God, I thought you meant like you loved it breaking up with him.
No.
I was like, Lauren. Oh my God, that was intense.
I just
Sheesh.
got done telling a
I'm
story.
like getting my feels, and you're like, yeah, I loved
No,
breaking up.
I just told the story of how I was crying.
I'm kidding.
No, I loved seeing my ex like post about his new girlfriend. Like that genuinely, I'm not just trying to be a cool girl. Like that genuinely brought me joy. I was like, yes, like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, whenever I talk to my high school ex, I'm just like, okay, so who are you dating? What are you doing? Like, whatever, just like,
Yep.
being an ass.
And I think
guess,
that comes with time too. I think maybe if he had
Oh,
gotten a new
yeah.
girlfriend in 6 months, I would have like wanted to like burn someone's house down.
oh,
But
for sure.
you know, like after years, whenever I've moved on, then I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so selfish, but it's true. Once you move on, you don't care anymore.
Yeah. Two pieces of advice that my mom has always given me, and I'll like kind of tell a story that I've learned from with it. She's always told me if he wanted to, he would.
Yep.
And also it shouldn't be hard. Like that was something that my poppy that we talked about him before. But he would always say that to my mom. Like there is no excuse. If he wanted to, he would. And like if it's really that hard, especially right in the beginning, if it's that hard, it shouldn't be. You should be in that honeymoon phase. You should be kind of like just having fun and not worrying about that. And in college, I mean, I had like talked to people and stuff, but there was only one guy that I really considered dating. And like, I really thought that I was in love with him at one point. Now looking back on it, I don't really know if I was. I think I just was in love with the idea of him and something that we could be, because right when I had met him, we had so many mutual things right off the bat that I was like, oh my God, this is meant to be. I mean, you know me, I love rom-coms. I'm like, oh my God, like lovey-dovey. So, but for about a year and a half from like freshman year until end of first semester, sophomore year, like it was just a game back and forth. And, you know, he's a great guy and is happily dating someone now. And like, we're friends and it's totally fine. But like he 100% broke my heart in college because it was just, and I don't think he realized that he was doing it. I mean, we were young, you know, but you can't lead people on. If you are not 110% into somebody, you just got to let it go. And that's kind of what was happening with us. Like, I think he did care for me and he did like me, but not enough to commit to me. And not to say that he was hooking up with other people at the same time, because I don't think he was. And honestly, him and I weren't even doing that. But like, it just wasn't working for some reason. As much as I was trying, and I'd be like, oh, well, he's just too busy to be texting me. Oh, he doesn't want to be on his phone. He doesn't blah, blah, blah. And it was excuse.
Yeah.
And my mom would always say like, Jamie, if he wanted to, he would. Like, he's got a phone. He can take 5 minutes to text you. He can make a plan with you, but he's not doing it. And it ended up coming down to a point where we really like kind of, I don't know if we were getting serious, but like everybody knew that we had a thing and that we were together. And it was at the end of sophomore year, which comes to ultimatums, that we were like taking a test together because we had a class. And I was like, okay, we're either going to date or like this needs to be done, because I mentally, and if it's hurting your mental health, you got to stop, because that's what was happening for me. It was making me really sad and doubting myself and how I felt about myself, which isn't cool.
Yeah.
And I was just like, knowing what his answer was going to be, I knew he was going to say no. But at the end of the day, I was glad that I gave that ultimatum. And he said that. He was just like, I'm not ready. And you know what? That gave me such a peace of mind, because I was like, great, I can move on then. This door is shut and I'm just going to move on. And that's what you need to do with people. You need to be straight up and honest. But that was like, looking back now, I'm like, wow, I really should have seen all of the red flags that were being shown and everything. But that's a part of learning. So if a guy really is not making that effort, it's not that hard.
Yep.
If somebody wants to see you, whether they live in a different state or they live in the same freaking city as you, they're going to make that effort.
True.
They're going to wine and dine you and do the damn thing, but just don't waste your time.
Yep.
And even if you have any doubt, just ask them.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's
just be
good
straight up.
advice. And even though that's not like, you know, you're not in a full-on relationship with that person, that to me can still feel like a breakup. You know, if you're in like
for sure
an in-between almost relationship, it's hard to let those go too, because it's like,
well, you gain feeling and you care for those people. I mean, there's always the steps leading up to a relationship that you're hanging out with someone more and, you know, you're telling them things about your life and all of these things. So when that even breaks off, you're just like, oh God, like, but you kind of dodge a bullet in the way that it's like, well, I'm glad that I didn't not waste time. Because I honestly, I don't think a relationship, unless someone's super toxic and like abusive and stuff, that's horrible. Don't ever like, that's horrible.
Different
but
thing.
like, I don't think you should regret the people that you date. I
No.
so feel like dating is all trial and error. And every relationship that you have, you take away things that you like and what you don't like. Not even just about the other person, but how you are about yourself. It's like, I like how I'm this way with certain people, but I don't like how I act this way. And you just learn so much more from it. So that's the cool part of dating, but it still sucks at the same time every time something has to end.
Oh yeah, it sucks. I know.
yeah.
This is like gonna sound like really weird, but I feel like I only consider the one ex that I've talked about like a real, true, like serious boyfriend.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have had like multiple like loves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
You know,
I agree.
That sounds like a little eat, pray, love, but it's true. Like I really feel like there have been people who have come into my life for like 2 months at a time, and like I have loved them. Like they have been like a whirlwind, but like I wouldn't even consider them an
Like
ex-boyfriend, but
Yeah. like,
those still like almost felt like a breakup. You know, I still had takeaways and I still feel like I had to mourn them or something. But I don't know. I agree with the trial and error thing for sure.
Yeah.
And I also agree with what you said about not regretting relationships, which kind of like reminds me on another topic of like when it's time to break up versus when it's time to work on something.
Yep.
Because you don't want to pull the plug too early, but you don't want to sit around and work yourself.
Push off the inevitable.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I feel like I definitely have been, I mean, me and Cameron have been together for September, fall, November. Sometime fall, winter will be like around 3 years that like we went on our first date.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like, oh, we almost broke up because that's really dramatic. But like, you know, you have hard things. And whenever there's hard things, sometimes you're like, you know what, this would be easier if we didn't have to talk about this again. If we could just leave and quit. And for me, it's boiled down to the difference between this current relationship and some of my former ones is like that gut feeling. And I know that's hard advice to like hear and make tangible, but in my gut, I have never had that like undeniable feeling of I have to walk away from this that I have in past relationships, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if that's advice to give, but I feel like you always know, and you can always convince yourself that it's not true. You can always ignore it, but underneath all that lying to yourself, you know in your gut what you need to do, I think, all the time.
No, I agree. I mean, that was the thing with me and my last ex. I think both of us just had this feeling, and I knew it wasn't going to turn out well. And I've talked about that on other episodes of the podcast. You just have this gut feeling that it's like, we can't come back from this, at least right now, you know? And I don't know what's going to happen with him and I, or like could meet someone else, whatever it is. But regardless, in that moment, I think you need to be very in tune with your gut feeling because it's always right. At some point or another, it's always right what you're feeling. And I think that is smart. There are some things that I feel like people in our generation sometimes are so quick to walk away. Yeah. It's like, no, this is supposed to be a movie moment. I mean, I'm on the freaking breakup side of TikTok now. So I'm like, which probably like
Breakup
sparked my sob session on Saturday night in bed by myself. But like, not everything is a movie. And you know how much I love Disney, but not everything is a damn Disney movie. Like, not everything is perfect. And just because that happens doesn't mean you need to walk away. Like, try and fix it. Try to work on it. See if there's some kind of compromise that you can make before you really let things go. Unless you have that gut feeling that we can't come back from this. And we're just too different of people, like you talked about before. And those are some serious things to take into consideration. If someone wants kids and the other one doesn't, I mean,
that's huge.
That's huge.
That's really big.
I know. I thought about that. When did I see that? Oh, on TikTok. Yeah, I told you that. I saw a TikTok and this girl was like, my boyfriend and I of 6 years just broke up because he wants kids and I don't. And that sucks. Like, you really love that person, but you just have different plans for your life.
And what's so crazy about that is
so
like
sad.
6 years is a long time, but like imagine you started dating when you were 18, like your first year of college. How the hell do you know what you want? I mean, honestly, that's not crazy to me because then they'd only be 2 years out of college whenever they have that conversation.
Yep.
Like, to me, that actually makes total sense. It's different if you start dating when you're like 30. Like, at that point, I feel like you have to kind of have serious conversations a little bit quicker. You know, like you have the benefit of being so young that you don't have to think about those things. But damn, 6 years, that's a long time. I don't know.
I know. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
But that's a reality of some situations, so.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about post-breakup behavior.
Oh, Lord.
What are you like after a breakup?
Oh, God. I mean, you know me. I'm like shunning every person away. Like, I mean, there's definitely, I don't know. And it's just me personally, and I'm sure it stems from like my parents getting divorced when I was like 3 or 4 years old, which I'm
deep.
definitely need to go to therapy, but it's fine. We'll get there at some point. My sister every day, she's like, "Can I help you find a therapist?" I'm like, "Sure." I still haven't gone. But I just, like I was saying earlier, I give so much to a person. And when we were talking about loves, I think I've had a bunch of like different loves and people that I've liked, but I've really only had 3 significant people in my life: my high school person, that kid from college, and then my most recent ex, who are people that I really wanted to be serious with. And I'm very picky with the people that I like to talk to or like to date in that way. So it takes a lot for me to really let people in again, no matter how nice they are and how much they're like putting themselves out there and whatever. Like, we've had this conversation recently. I just can't do it, you know, and it also doesn't help that I'm still talking to him. That's you know, I mean, and we were talking about this earlier, that like that stage of limbo either. I mean, because you either break up and it's a clean slate and you're done, or it's like, okay, we're still like talking here and there and trying to figure things out. So that's kind of the stage that I'm in. And I don't think it's fair for me to explore other options when I'm not fully done with that situation, because I would never want a guy to talk to me if he's still thinking about his ex in some way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I mean, it's like just not fair. Like, you don't give the person like a full shot, really.
Right. And I feel like we're always making these jokes about guys where it's like, oh, he's got like 15 girlfriends at one point. And it's like, no, it's like a serious thing. I would never want a guy talking to me, especially at this point. We're freaking 25 years old. Like, we are not doing these same mind games that we were doing in college and high school and all these different things. Like, you got to commit to one person. I just would never want someone doing that to me, so I don't want to do that to somebody else, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you post-breakup?
I partied my face off. I really did. And I think it's like, now I think I'd handle it probably differently, but it was a really weird time. We'll probably get into this on like other episodes, but like I wasn't eating a lot, and I was partying a lot, and I was exercising a lot. So like I just like really distracted myself with like fun and fitness and everything else. And I know it was because I was sad, you know, and that, again, I had never had a serious boyfriend before that. And so I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just feeling all these things, and I just needed distractions. And so I hit it hard.
And that's totally fine. Like, I think it's also the stage in your life that you're in, because like you said, this will be a different episode, but like when things kind of hit the fan with me and that kid at like a frat formal and stuff, like that's a whole nother episode to talk about. But I reacted very differently then than I would now. I think just because I'm an adult now, I'm more so looking at this. And I made these notes in my phone the other night when I was like, we should do a breakup episode. I was just like, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with me and said person, or if there's going to be another person to come in. But at this moment in time, I'm focusing on Jamie and like loving her for the person that she is, who she's going to be, and who she's not. And I just, at this point, being more of an adult, I just want to focus on myself and my career and do that and be fine with it. You know, like, you got to be comfortable with being alone. And I feel like I'm always talking to someone, you know, right before him, like I was talking to somebody else and whatever. And it's just like, I need to focus on Jamie, and I need to get Jamie right mentally, physically, just like everything needs to be right.
Yes. That's good advice, to get comfortable being alone. I mean, I think it's natural to want to distract yourself after a breakup. And I think, God forbid I had a breakup now, I think I would distract myself in a much healthier way than I did when I was 20 years old. But I think I would probably distract myself nonetheless, you know? And I think it takes time and practice to make yourself like be by yourself. And I heard this, it's funny because I heard it on a podcast, but I heard, I think it was a therapist talking about whenever you go through a breakup and like you always have the TV on or you always have a podcast on, there's always some other voice or noise. Like, it takes practice to force yourself to be in silence, like with just you and your thoughts, even if it's like 10 minutes a day, like just doing the dishes without anyone talking to you. And I think that'd be really hard.
Oh, it's hard. I just did it this past weekend.
Oh my God.
I was so relieved to go to work on Monday and be around people and everything, because your mind is it's so brilliant sometimes, but it's so horrible sometimes. Like, it makes you feel horrible and puts these thoughts into your own mind that it's like, this is not even true. Like, and I'm the queen of overthinking.
Yeah.
So that's why I got myself so worked up and so upset, but it is hard. But I think it's something like that you can work on and become proud that you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier an ultimatum.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about an ultimatum? I mean, I guess I've given one at this point, but
I kind of like them. I'm a big fan of shit or get off the pot. I really actually enjoy saying that to people. I think, I don't know. I go kind of back and forth on this because I kind of hate whenever people say, oh, if you have to give someone an ultimatum, then that's a red flag. I'm like, I think
so.
there's gray area, you know, like I don't agree with that fully. I think maybe sometimes they can be problematic for sure, but I think it's situational. I don't know. I think that an ultimatum isn't the worst thing if someone is like teetering on the edge of like what happened with you, like, are you going to commit to me or not? I don't think that's a crazy thing to do. I think that's fair, and it's just like getting to the point, you know? And especially if it's dragged out. I mean, if you're trying to decide if you're gonna be with someone, whether you're dating or you're trying to date them, like if you're gonna break up with someone, if you've been dragging that out for weeks and months on end, like it needs to come to an end. And if that's the only way you get it, then go for it, I say.
Well, exactly. It's gonna give you a peace of mind. I mean, it's gonna suck either
for both
way.
of you. Oh
right.
my God.
It's like just do what's going to happen anyways. And then that one person, I mean, both people can move on, but then it's off your plate. Then the person who's heartbroken is like, okay, great. I'm glad I'm not wasting any more time with that.
Yeah.
Because time is so valuable. And we've talked about that before. I mean, if you really, especially at this point, being adults, I get in high school and college, like you're figuring it out. But now that we're outside of school and we're living adult lives and doing all these things, time is so valuable. Don't waste people's time.
Right.
Seriously, because my heart breaks, honestly, for the people that, you know, are like engaged and everything or with somebody for so long. And if you're having any sense of doubt, you need to talk about that. I mean, my friend recently was talking to me about her and her boyfriend. Sorry. And he was saying they ended up breaking up, and he just kind of said that he like fell out of love with her. And she was like, well, why did you then bring me to all these family outings and to Christmas with them and stuff? And he was like, I thought seeing you with my family would make me fall in love with you again, or would seeing them love you would make me love you again. And like, that is horrible. Don't do that.
I hate him.
Don't do that.
Oh my God.
That would literally just like rip me to shreds. It's like if you just know you're not in love with someone anymore, you don't need to question that. If you're even thinking that, you need to address that situation immediately.
That's what I'm saying. It's in your gut. Like, you know whether or not it's something that, like, if you have a deep, meaningful conversation, like, you can work on something with someone. That right there, if you have to throw the Hail Mary of, I hope my mom likes you a lot, done.
No,
that's a
done. Don't.
gut feeling that this ain't right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's horrible. I'd be so pissed.
Isn't that sad? And I feel like it's also, oh my God, like everybody makes fun of the phrase, it's not you, it's me. But like, that's a real thing.
Yeah, in that situation especially, it's not her, it's him.
No, exactly. And that's where people are like, oh, well, if they break up with me, it's clearly something about me. No, it's not. It really, like, maybe you might not be the person for them, but that's because they have certain standards or certain things that they like about people.
Right.
That is nothing about you. That is a standard that they've set for themselves. Yeah. And you cannot beat yourself up for that.
No, and I think that mostly applies whenever there's been nothing nefarious. You know, like, obviously it's you if you cheat on someone. Obviously it's you if, like, you've got issues and, like, you know, I don't know, real issues.
Yeah.
You know if it's you. Other than that, you can't get mad at yourself and down on yourself. You know, like, it's, if you didn't do anything, you know that. So you shouldn't even worry about it.
I think it's important to talk about, too, to not get hung up on your ex.
Ooh.
Where it's... Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to talk because I'm in that limbo stage. But like,
Jamie's like, checking in.
I feel like I mean, you guys saw our like Little Miss things the other day. I'm sure you can guess which one was me by now. But I think it's also different if somebody is like legit stringing you along just because they want the convenience of you being there, or if you guys are kind of also still working on things, seeing what's going to happen, because you don't want to waste your time on someone that's not giving you their time. You can't make excuses for people. And I say that all the time. Like, I don't want to make excuses for somebody because at the end of the day, I know if I really like someone, I'm going to make it happen. Yeah. And I'm going to talk to them and make it work. And if someone's not doing that for you, why, if they don't see like the sparkle that you have, why do you want them to dull the sparkle that you have?
Jamie, Jamie, that was cheesy and
I
it really
didn't
got
mean
me.
for that to come out
I'm
that way, but
sorry.
it did.
As soon as you said the word sparkle, the
just like,
smile
oh.
on my face, I was like, she's doing it. She's doing it.
But it's so true.
It was sweet. It was sweet.
so obvious, like when someone's like a light in the room and
Yeah.
then is going through something. Like that sucks when someone's doing that. You know, even when you're upset, I'm like, what's wrong? What's going
Right?
on?
I know.
You know,
I know.
I literally texted you when we were at work the other day. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's going on?
Jamie texts me and goes, "You seem sad." I was
We're
like,
like
"I
2
am."
feet away from each other. But yeah, I mean, it's super cheesy. I hate being cheesy that way, but it's so true. Like I just hate for people, like we've all had the friends that are hung up on someone that clearly doesn't give a shit about them.
And they're bringing them down,
Right.
and it's like you just want to shake them and be like,
Yeah.
"Knock it off!" And,
Right.
But it's so much harder.
So much easier said than done.
Yes, it's so much harder than you think.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of piggybacks off of something that you also always see people say of like, don't text your ex, like, you know, whenever you have those moments of like nostalgia, like send that cute thing to your girlfriend or your mom instead. And that's just something that I find so, it's like you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to be like, oh, every now and then, like, I feel like nostalgic, but it happens to everyone. And I've gotten those texts from people. Cameron has gotten those texts from people where they're like, you know, like, I'm going through the memory box, like, you remember this? And they like shoot you a picture of like the two of you like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
There's nothing nefarious about it, but it's like, shit, we got to stop doing that. Like, don't open that can of worms. Just don't do it. And it's like tough because nostalgia is so real. I get it, y'all. Everyone, and that's the thing. We need to normalize it. Everyone has those moments when you're moving, or maybe the Facebook memory. That one's a tough one.
Snapchat memories? Are you kidding me?
Snapchat memory's hard. And what's also, if you have a family like mine, I go home for Christmas and my mom is like, you remember that one time you and so? And I'm like, Mom, why would you bring him up? Like, now I'm thinking about, and so it can be tempting, I think, to do that, but for the sake of you and the other person, like, you just don't want to bring it. I just advise against bringing it up, even when you're feeling nostalgic. Like, send it to us, DM it to
literally.
us.
Like you're just bringing up past emotions, and it's not fair to other people.
Hurts you.
It hurts so bad, and that even made me think. Like when I first started dating said ex, like his ex sent him a video of him playing with her dog, which he loved her dog. And it pissed me off because I'm like, stop. Don't DM him that. And of course, he thought nothing of it.
Right. You never
but it's
do.
disrespectful to the people that you're dating now. And she knew exactly what she was doing. And it was funny because we first started dating and I was like, haha, cute. Like, that's fine.
But
Months later, I was like, I was so pissed. Like, I literally wanted to kill her. I'm kidding. Like, would never do that. But like, burn her house down.
I had somebody send like a picture of like one of the people that I was talking to, like a picture of them like looking really hot in bikinis, and I was like, she sent that so you look at her in her bikini. Like, she's not doing that to be sweet.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm sitting here like vouching for people feeling nostalgic. There's a difference between nostalgia and being thirsty.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And it depends on timing too. Because like if I send something to my high school ex, like he knows I'm not like, oh, let's rekindle after 7
You remember how
years.
hot I was
Yeah.
when I was 14? Like, no.
I was 14. Literally though.
You're being sweet. That's the difference.
Yeah. No, it's,
don't know.
yeah.
And okay, wow, now I'm thinking of all these little things that just come with breakups. The friends, whenever you break up with someone.
Yeah.
That's tough because we've talked about this before. Like, I feel like me and you are both really into like, let's be friends with each other's friends, you know? And that's like my ideal relationship. I like to have my friends and I want to meet your friends and I want them to be like one big happy family. And unfortunately, whenever your relationship ends,
That ends.
it's kind of, it'll never be the same.
Don't make it awkward. Like, don't be stalking his friends in the bar. That's so weird. Like, you are done. That's because every mindset of a girl that does that is like, I'm going to go up to the friends and they're going to be like, hey, so-and-so, I saw so-and-so at the bar. Like, she looked like cute or like was looking for you, blah, blah, blah. And then they think the guy is going to be like, oh my God, wow, I should go talk to her. No, every guy is like, get her away.
They're
like,
going to be like, she's acting like a crazy
Yeah.
person. She
She's
said
been
hello
psycho.
to me. Can you believe that nut? And it's
yeah, like no one thinks that. Do not do that. Do not contact the family. Like, nothing.
You
honestly.
will look crazy.
Yeah. And I am like, I love the brothers of my high school ex and I love his mom, but she respectfully stopped liking my stuff on Facebook when I started dating someone else. And honestly, I was kind of offended. I'm like, I literally text him like, why does your mom not like my stuff anymore?
Oh my God.
But like now she likes it again. So
One
it's
of my
fine.
ex's grandparents still chats with my mom on Facebook, and it is so funny. And every now and then, like, we will. Like, I'll send him a text, be like, yo, did you see that? That is so funny. But
and that's okay. But just don't go out of your way. Don't be weird. Just space.
Yes.
Breathe. Ugh.
Yeah, and one of my other exes, all of his friends like blocked me like as soon as we broke up. I was like, damn, y'all like freaking
Blocked
relax.
you?
Yes, and it only lasted for like, I don't know, like a week, and then they unblocked me. But I was like, damn, that was harsh. But it can hurt your feelings. But I feel like that's kind of, again, one of those things, like you need space from all of it. You need space whenever you break up from the person and from all of your little mutual ties, and that will get better with time.
Yeah. And my biggest piece of advice is get a journal. I have always been journaling, and honestly, when shit was hitting the fan earlier this year, my mom was like, have you been journaling? I was like, no. She's like, yeah, I can tell. Because I just like always am talking, and it makes you feel really good. But just like learn to be comfortable with being alone and journal, and just don't jump into things so quickly. Be picky. There's a lot of people in the world.
Yes, that's really good advice.
True.
I feel like we should end it there.
I know.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I've hit all my points.
Jamie's like, I feel good. We've been to therapy today, y'all.
Oh, we really have. But hopefully you guys like related with this and have kind of different situations or similar situations like that. And we're all figuring it out day by day.
We've all been through breakups and they all suck.
They
suck and then they get better and you come out better. So
yeah, just keep drinking your wine, journal, be good.
Yes.
It'll be good.
We feel y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
So now we kind of jump into our...
Normally we have a guest here to say
I
goodbye
know,
to.
so now we kind of jump into our outro, I guess. So take it away, Lauren.
All right, y'all. Remember, new episodes come out every single Monday morning. Really, really early. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, all the other ones. Wherever you are listening to a podcast, we are there. Yep. So be sure to give us a listen, share with your friends, like, subscribe, hit us with the socials.
Yeah, please make sure to share with your friends also.
Please.
Yeah. We're obviously on social media at Chicks and Dip Pod, POD, Instagram, TikTok. Like I keep saying, we will have more content soon. And we have a very exciting announcement soon, but we're not going to say it yet. But we will be reaching more of you on some apps and some other different things. Yeah. So we have a lot in store, and we'll kind of update you guys on what's been going on in our lives soon. But thank you for listening. Thank you for being here and checking in every week. We appreciate it.
We'll see y'all next week.
Bye. Bye.